the latest and most innovative technology, the IS is a suit that grants the user immense power. Power so great that its use has been banned for military use worldwide. There's just one catch. It is only accessible for women, so when Ichika is revealed as the first man to use an IS, he's transferred to IS Specialized Academy, where he is surrounded by women. Episode 1. Welcome to Infinite Stratos, where we are introduced to a new city filled with the newest technological advancements. We transition to a school where a man is seen struggling to keep his constipation to himself. The teacher walks in the classroom and introduces herself as Maya, the deputy homeroom teacher. She expects the students to welcome her, but they stay silent, forcing her to continue talking. She explains that for the next 3 years, they will be attending the IS school where they stay on campus. Go back to the constipated man where he is called upon by his teacher asking him to introduce himself. He stands up and introduces himself as Ichika, getting the eyes of all female onlookers. Ichika realizes if he doesn't say anything else, he will be frowned upon, so he tells them that is all he has to say. Suddenly, a woman arrives and introduces herself as Orimura, the class's homeroom teacher. The class suddenly erupts, knowing who the Orimura is. Ichika reveals that Orimura is his sister and wonders why she is working there. The classmates look over at him, realize he is the only man in the world capable of piloting an IS. Ichika, however, thinks to himself about his sister's past, her being one of the top IS pilots, suddenly disappearing. Teacher interrupts his thought by explaining the use of the IS robots. Not only are they used for fighting, but also to do sports and daily tasks. The IS Academy is made for women to hone their skills in the IS robots. After the class is over, Ichika is bombarded by a group of female onlookers, wondering how Ichika is the only male pilot. Saving him from the chaos, girl asks to talk to Ichika, taking him to the roof. Ichika starts the conversation by revealing she's a childhood friend he hasn't talked to in 6 years. Before we continue, let's take a moment to answer the question of the day. Would you have the courage to walk into an all-girls school? Comment down below for a chance to be shouted out in the next video. Now, back to the recap. He then congratulates her for winning her recent kendo tournament. Ichika continues to spit some game on her by telling her hair is pretty like usual. After the bell rings, a group of onlookers walk away, saddening by Ichika already having a girl. They arrive at their next class, and Ichika looks at his schoolwork, not understanding it. Then his sister walks over and asks if he read the preparation book, to which he tells her he didn't. She orders him to have read it all by the end of the week or else. Ichika thinks to himself for the rest of the class, until a blonde girl approaches him asking what's up. She introduces herself as Cecilia, famous IS pilot from England that earned the spot of a national representative. Ichika has no clue what she is talking about, so he asks for her to explain. Tells him that she is on a team of the elite pilots for all of England, making her rank very high. Ichika still doesn't see the big deal, so he asks what being on that team means. Cecilia looks down upon him and tells him he can never be as strong as she is. She calls herself an elite, scored high on the entrance exams. Ichika tells her he did the same. Cecilia then realizes Ichika is the one who defeated the instructor, and she runs away. After class, Ichika walks back to his dorm, followed by a group of girls. He arrives at his dorm and he is greeted by a girl introducing herself as Huki, Chika's roommate. After walking out in nothing but a towel, she realizes it is Ichika, demands he looks away. Huki begins questioning why he is in her dorm, attacking him in the process. She forces him out the dorms and attempts to stab him through the door. Ichika dodges, but there is a group of girls awaiting him, so he apologizes to Huki and asks to be let in. She agrees and gets changed and asks Ichika to explain how he is her roommate. Ichika asks what the issue is, but tells her he can see why she has a problem. Huki then asks if he asked to pair with her, hoping he did, but he tells her it was random. This angers Huki, so she attempts to strike him, but gains the attention from the people outside the room. She decides this isn't how she will deal with things, so she lays out some rules. Huki tells Ichika that they will have set times for the shower, and he won't peek at her. Ichika then realizes there are no bathrooms in the rooms, so he will have to use a girl's public bathroom. Huki gets mad at him, trying to enter a girl's bathroom, so she smacks him with her sword again. Following day, Ichika eats lunch with Huki, drawing the attention of all the girls. Eventually, a group builds up the courage to approach Ichika, asking to eat lunch with him. Ichika begins flirting with the girls, so Huki decides to leave. Ichika explains to the girls that she has known Huki since he was a child, and attending the same kendo club. Interrupting their conversation is Orimura, telling all of the students to finish eating so they can begin their class. After arriving at class, Orimura explains to the students they will need to pick a class leader. He asks who will volunteer for the position. Few girls say they want Ichika, Ichika. Cecilia, however, is not having this, so she disagrees with Ichika's nomination, saying she is better suited. Ichika tells her that just because she is on some team, she isn't strong. Cecilia doesn't let this slide, so she proposes a duel to Ichika. Ichika offers to give her a handicap, and this causes the class to laugh at him. Girls in his class try and attempt to convince him to take a handicap from her, but he disagrees, saying a man can't go back on his word. Orimura makes it official, planning the duel for the following day. Episode 2. Orimura tells Ichika that his eyes is not ready yet, so they will have to postpone the duel. Orimura explains that Ichika has a personal IS, making the class abrupt. Cecilia then walks to the front and tells them that he isn't special, her having her own personal IS. She tells Ichika that there are only around 400 total IS units in the world, making only a few people having personal IS. Girl walks over and explains that the IS can't be made without the technology the company Core produces. Core produces these materials and supplies the world, having access to the IS technology. It is also revealed that Haruki's sibling is an executive in the Core franchise. The class goes crazy and begins asking Haruki questions about her relationship and what benefits she gets. Haruki gets mad for some reason, telling the class that she doesn't want to talk about it. Aya then takes over and begins teaching the class more about eyes and the tech behind them. She explains that the IS surround themselves in shields, wield weapons to deal damage to other IS. Then explains everyone participating in the upcoming exams needs a partner to practice with. Ichika notices Haruki looking down after being asked about her sibling, so he invites her to lunch. Other girls overhear him inviting her to lunch, so they ask to join him as well. Haruki tries to refuse his invitation. Ichika grabs her hand and tries to force her to go. Haruki doesn't take this well. She decides to push him down. After seeing this, the other girls decide they will pass on joining them, not wanting to get hit too. Ichika grabs her hand and tells her to follow him to lunch. They get there, and Ichika reminds Haruki that she doesn't have to be so mean to other people. Ichika then thanks Haruki for helping him out a lot as a child. They get their lunch finally and find a table to eat at. Ichika asks Haruki how to use an IS, not knowing anything about them. Suddenly, a girl overhears this and asks Ichika if he would like her to teach him. Haruki then tells her that she will be teaching him. The other girl doesn't give up. She tells Haruki she is a senior, so she would be better, but Haruki simply tells the girl her sibling's name and they back off. Later on, Haruki takes Ichika to the dojo to teach him more about the basics regarding piloting an IS. It was a little too hard on him, making him look weak as all get out. Later that night, Haruki gets back to the dorm and thinks about Ichika before she enters. She wonders why he is so weak now, him being super strong before. She then gets excited at the thought of spending a whole day training alongside Ichika. The following day, they arrive at a training facility where Ichika is seen asking Haruki why she hasn't taught him anything yet. She instead presents some film of Cecilia in a match for him to study. Suddenly, Maya goes on the intercom and tells Ichika that his personal eyes has finally arrived. He opens the gates and a large mecha emerges, shining like it's brand new. Ichika approaches it, and when he touches the IS, he recognizes something is different than before. He enters the robot and powers up all of his different mainframes, preparing for battle. Maya explains some of the advantages and disadvantages of his IS, reminding him he is not invincible. Ichika, who is finally prepared, wishes all the girls off and heads into the stadium. Once he gets in there, Cecilia awaits him, giving him one last chance to back down. She takes no time to attack, launching beams at him with lightning speed. Ichika continues to dodge or block her attack, unable to close the distance. He eventually discovers a weapon attached to his robot. He pulls it out and rushes in. As he continues to fight, his stamina continues to run out, but Cecilia stays strong. He sends in attack after attack, causing Ichika to go on the defensive. Ichika, however, doesn't just sit around, speeding up and charging in towards Cecilia. She blocks his initial attack, but gets caught in a barrage of incoming strikes. Ichika tells her that she shouldn't be so confident despite her achievements. Cecilia uses an attack, sending both of her guns out to follow Ichika, giving her a chance to use one of her big guns. She sends in a rocket towards Ichika, causing a huge explosion within the stadium. However, instead of showing damage, Ichika emerges from the explosion not only unharmed, but also unlocking an evolved form of his IS. Cecilia takes notice of him using the beginner settings and asks how he has been able to keep up. Ichika ignores her, however, scrolls through his new upgrades, taking notice to a new sword. Celia gets tired of waiting for him to attack, so she strikes, but Ichika stops it instantly. He rushes back towards her and pushes her back, giving himself an opening. Right before he finishes her off, his shield barrier runs out, ending the fight in favor of Cecilia. After this, Ichika goes and asks his sister why he lost, to which she explains. The IS have a limited use on their shield, so when it runs out, the pilot is vulnerable. Orimura explains that Ichika's IS is trash, essentially, and offers him another replacement one. He accepts and walks back to the dorm accompanied by Haruki. He announces that Cecilia is the new class rep, to which Haruki asks if he is mad about losing. Ichika tells her he didn't want to be the rep anyways, and that he has a lot to learn. Haruki tells Ichika that she will teach him how to actually use the IS going forward. Episode 3. A few days later, the Ichika has to participate in a class-wide training program. Oramura starts by asking Cecilia to initiate her IS. She summons it perfectly, and Oramura moves on to Ichika, telling him to summon his own IS. Ichika struggles at first, but eventually succeeds in summoning it and follows behind Cecilia. Ichika informs her that he is bad at flying, just recently started using an IS. Oramura orders Cecilia to perform a landing and show Ichika how it is done. She lands it perfectly, and Ichika follows behind, hoping to replicate her move, but he fails. After taking a massive fall, the classmates rush to Ichika's side, asking if he is all right. Huki shames him, telling him to practice what she taught. Cecilia then rushes past her and tries to comfort Ichika, asking if he needs help with anything. Huki gets jealous and tells Cecilia to get off of Ichika. Later on, it is announced that Cecilia declined the position of class rep despite defeating Ichika. Ichika is instead awarded the position, and a celebration is held for him. Girls surround him, congratulating his new achievement. Suddenly, Ichika's picture is taken by a member of the photography club. She then asks Cecilia to take a picture with Ichika, making Huki jealous again. She decides to jump into the picture, ruining the two's moment. Huki tells him it must have been fun messing around with girls, and she throws a pillow at him. She orders him to look away. She's going to change her underwear. Ichika stays lying on his side, thinking about what she looks like and resisting the urge to look. As more time goes on, he gets more anxious until she tells him she is finally done. Ichika tells her that she looks good in her new outfit, and this makes her happy. He decides to go to bed on a good note and turns off the light. The next day, they arrive at school and discuss the upcoming event. They then talk about how the class over recently switched their class rep after they got a transfer student. Suddenly, a girl walks into the class and introduces herself as Rin, the class rep from China. Then Oramura comes behind her, tells her she needs to leave because class is about to start. Later that day at lunch, Ichika converses with Rin, telling her he is surprised she came to the school. Ichika reveals that he has known Rin for some time, having favored the same ramen a year ago. Haoki notices the two of them being real close, so she gets envious. Ichika, on the other hand, continues to talk with Rin, telling her how he got enrolled in IS. He tells her when he went to his original school, he got lost and wandered around looking for the entrance ceremony. There, within the school, Ichika discovers an IS and decides to touch it. After touching the IS, it reacted to him and showed that he has the ability to use an IS. Tells Rin that after that happened, transferred to IS. Huki and Cecilia get tired of just listening to them talk, so they interrupt the conversation by asking Ichika if Rin is his girlfriend. Ichika explains that they are just childhood friends and nothing more. Ichika explains to Rin that Huki is the other childhood friend that he has told her about. Huki gets glad that he has talked about her before, so she relaxes a bit. Celia then introduces herself to Rin, proclaiming to be a prodigy from England. Rin ignores her a bit, asks Ichika if they can hang out somewhere else. Other girls object and continue to try and be friendly with Ichika. He boasts by telling Rin Ichika used to visit her for dinner, to which Rin tells her he would do the same. Ichika asks Rin about her father, him running a restaurant on his own. Bell rings and Rin tells Ichika they will meet up again later. Later that day, Cecilia decides to help Huki in training Ichika to use his IS. The two girls fight over who will train Ichika, leaving him with the choice of who to pick. Being unable to hurt others, feelings he trains with both, giving him a tough day of training. Ichika lays on the ground exhausted, tells Huki to go ahead to the dorm before him. He goes inside of the facility and is greeted by Rin, handing him water. She tells him she is glad they are finally around and asks if he likes being with her. Rin asks Ichika if there is anything he has ever been wanting to tell her, but he misinterprets it, tells her that he is in a hurry and needs to go home, Huki being done with her shower time. Rin asks what their relationship is, and Ichika explains that they are childhood friends sharing a room. Rin frowns, knowing that she has a much better chance at him after being paired together. She decides to take it upon herself to try and interrupt this, asking Huki if she can switch rooms with her. Rin tells her that she is better suited for Ichika. This enrages Huki. She grabs her sword and attempts to strike Rin, but she is blocked with ease. Rin then tells Ichika he promised her something back in elementary school. Rin asks Ichika if he remembers their promise, and he explains it to her. He says she promised to feed him food every day. She gets mad after he gets their promise wrong. Ichika asks her to tell him the promise. She suggests they will settle it with a duel in the upcoming event. After Rin leaves Huki and tells Ichika he needs to stop bringing so many girls over. The next day, Ichika is faced up against Rin for his first match in the event, making it a tough first opponent. The two emerge into the stadium and fly up into the sky. Oramura initiates the match and the two begin their battle against each other. Episode 4. As Ichika struggles to overpower Rin, she continues to strike Ichika, giving him no chance to attack. She continues her onslaught by striking him. Ichika holds out, determined to win. Cecilia watches and complains, knowing he can do better. Rin then readies her next attack, but it is evaded quickly by Ichika. Ichika realizes he needs to end the battle soon, or else his barrier will run out like last time. Rin then decides to use a real attack, firing a beam in Ichika's direction. He falls to the ground with his shield on low battery, making the battle seem over. Ichika doesn't give up, however, continuing to evade all of Rin's attacks. Maya watches from a computer room, explains to the others that unless Ichika can break through, he will never defeat Rin. Ichika remembers one of his training days with Orimura, her telling him all he needs is a sword. Orimura tells Ichika that not only does he need to be strong, but he needs to have full control over his IS. Ichika is then seen apologizing for not being up to Orimura's standards, but she reassures he will get stronger. Ichika remembers a special move he has hidden and decides to use it. He tells Rin it's time he gets serious, preparing to use Ignition Boost. Orimura explains that it is a surprise attack where you achieve a maximum speed and launch an effective attack capable of dealing damage against even the strongest. Ichika then decides to use his move. A large explosion stops him, causing the stadium to erupt in confusion. Orimura gets on the intercom and tells all of the students to evacuate from the field. Rin then informs Ichika of the situation. An unidentified IS has entered the school grounds and is after Ichika. Rin urges Ichika to take cover, him not being as strong as her. While she is talking, she is interrupted by an incoming attack where she is saved by Ichika. Two run away and eventually see the IS approach, standing in the flames. Ichika demands the IS to identify itself, but he gets no response, so he decides to fight it. Maya calls him, urging him to back down, but he knows if he doesn't stop it, the students will be in danger. Then suddenly the IS charges towards Ichika and fires a barrage of beams in his direction. Ichika is able to dodge all of the incoming attacks, but he is forced on the defensive. Rin comes to him and urges them to work together to increase their chances. The two then engage in battle with the IS, causing Maya to get worried. Orimura assures the others that Ichika will be fine, not understanding the power Ichika wields. Cecilia then approaches Orimura and asks for her to let her use her IS to assist them. Orimura shows them that the school is in a level 4 lockdown, and it's impossible to get to the IS and help them. Cecilia then pleads for Orimura to do something, but she tells Cecilia they first must protect the other students. Orimura then tells Cecilia that she specializes against multiple opponents. She would only be a hindrance to Ichika. Going back to the battle, Ichika continues to try and subdue the unidentified IS, is unable to catch them off guard. Ichika looks at his IS report and realizes his shield is almost out, so he has to act fast if they want to win. Ichika then rushes to Rin's side, telling her he will protect her, helping her evade an attack. As the battle goes on, the unidentified IS begins to seem like it is operated by a robot rather than a human. They wait far away for it to emerge from the smoke and wonder why it isn't attacking. Ichika asks Rin whether they could win if it is an unmanned unit. Tells her that if there is no one inside the IS, he will unleash his ultimate attack and end the battle. Ichika tells Rin that his next attack will not only hit, inflict damage on the IS. Rin tells him to try it out and tells him she will cover him as he charges the attack up. Suddenly, before he uses his attack, Uki runs out and tells Ichika to man up and defeat the IS. Doing this, she draws the attention of the unidentified IS, forces Ichika and Rin to attack before it does. Ichika uses his last attack, charges towards the IS with full power, slices off a hand of the IS but is slammed back after doing so. The IS approaches Ichika, ready to finish him off, but it is stopped by Cecilia's incoming attacks. She uses her beam to shoot a hole right through the chest of the IS, ending the battle. Ichika praises Cecilia, thinking the battle is over, but IS uses its last bit of energy to launch a final attack. Rather than back down, Ichika charges into the beam, hoping to end the battle for good this time. Later that day, Ichika wakes back up in a hospital being greeted by Rin. Ichika asks Rin what happened after he got hit with the beam, and she explains everyone is okay but him. The two continue to talk until Ichika eventually asks Rin if she wants to go somewhere. She interprets it as a date, but is interrupted by Cecilia's appearance. Uki then walks in as well, giving Rin no chance at being alone with Ichika. Episode 5. Getting a break from school, Ichika decides to visit one of his friends. He asks Ichika if he is in heaven, being surrounded by women in his school. Ichika tells him he is glad Rin is attending his school when his friend's brother comes and interrupts. She introduces herself as Ron, telling Ichika he is always welcome to stay with them. Later that day, Ron changes outfits and serves Ichika some tea. Ichika asks why she changed, not noticing that she changed to look better for him. Ichika's day off runs out, and he heads back to his dorm where upon arrival he is greeted by Maya. Maya tells Huki of some chores she needs to do, so Huki rushes out, hoping to not miss a day with Ichika. Ichika then prepares to head to sleep, but Huki comes back, telling Ichika she needs to discuss something with him. He asks Ichika if he will go on a date with her if she wins all of her upcoming matches. Some girls overhear this and spread the rumor that if you win your matches in the event, then you can go on a date with Ichika. Ichika then arrives at school, unknowing of what they are conversing with. Maya announces that today a new student will be joining their class. The student walks in and introduces themselves as Charles. transfer student from France. Charles tells the class that he heard of another male IS user, hence their transfer. The class erupts after learning there is another boy, and Orimura hands Charles off to Ichika. Ichika takes Charles's hand and guides him to a training facility. While walking, Earl notices the two walking and begins freaking out, drawing the attention of all of the girls in the area. The two then run away, not wanting to deal with the onlookers. After losing the girls, Ichika tells Charles to get used to it. After noticing the time, Ichika begins changing so they don't miss out on training time. Ichika begins getting undressed and urges Charles to get undressed as well. He talks around and notices Charles has changed super fast, wondering what he could be up to. Ichika notices Charles's slick suit design and asks where it was made. Charles explains that he is the son of a CEO. His suit is made from their company. Finally get out in time to train and stand around going over the rules. Orimura walks over to Cecilia and Rin, telling them if they do good, they might win Ichika over. This fires them up, so they announce that they will battle anyone with ease. Suddenly, Maya comes running in but loses control of her IS, falling down on Ichika. Ichika gets a feel-in. He is interrupted by the other girls initiating their attacks on Maya. Orimura tells the class that Maya is a former national candidate that won some championships. Orimura then tells Rin and Cecilia take on Maya in a 2 versus 1. They argue for a bit, but eventually fold, flying into the sky and initiating the battle. During the battle, Orimura asks Charles some questions regarding ISs, wanting to test his knowledge. The two girls continue to suppress Maya. They are eventually defeated and thrown to the ground. After both being knocked down, Orimura goes and tells the class to find a partner to practice what they did. All of the girls instantly approach Charles and Ichika, hoping to land a spot with one of them. Uki watches from afar, getting more and more jealous as Ichika talks to the girls. Eventually, Ichika decides to hold an audition for who will be his partner. Him being unable to decide himself, Uki then approaches and asks if she can train with Ichika as well. Uki tries to get in, but she is unable to, so Maya tells Ichika to lift her into the IS. After helping her train, he invites her to eat lunch along with him. Accepts, but her mood is turned upside down after she sees all of the other girls at lunch with him. Following this, Rin presents a homemade lunchbox to Ichika. This causes Cecilia to act as well. She shows Ichika her own homemade lunch as well and asks him to dig into it. After taking one bite, Ichika realizes she is not the one, decides to try someone else's lunch. Ichika asks Huki if he can try her. She agrees to his request. Ichika takes a bite and is instantly impressed, asking how she got the flavor so good. Ichika then offers to feed some chicken to Huki, and this draws the attention of the others. The girls see this and ask Ichika if they can feed him like he did with Huki. After these events, they go to school the next day to be greeted by yet another transfer student. Introduces herself as Laura, a German national representative. After introducing herself, she walks over to Ichika and slaps him across the face, telling him she will never recognize him. Episode 6. Following these events, Ichika heads to the training facility to have the girls give him some guidance. With 3 different people telling him different things, he finds it difficult to learn. Charles approaches and offers to battle Ichika as a way to help him improve. The two then begin their battle, neither side showing any weaknesses. Ichika eventually gets impatient and rushes in for an attack, giving Charles a chance to turn the battle around. After getting spammed by Chala's gun, his barrier runs out and he loses the battle. Charles explains the difference in weapons and such so that Ichika can understand it. Charles proposes to Ichika that he use one of her weapons to try and train his aim. He gets into position to fire the rifle, and Charles helps him, making the other girls jealous. Ichika continues to shoot all of the targets, not missing a single target. Interrupting their conversation is Laura, flexing her new IS to Ichika. Laura tells Ichika that he needs to fight her, but he declines. Laura doesn't take his decline well, shooting him right after he tells her no. Charles mediates the situation, and it leaves everyone to wonder what Ichika and Laura's issue is. After training, Charles walks over to Ichika and tells him that he will go change at their dorm. Ichika, however, doesn't let Charles leave, bringing him in close. This causes Charles to freak out and run away, Ichika to head home alone. Walking back, he overhears his sister talking to Laura about the future, but tells her that no one at the school is worth her teachings. She should go back to training her. Orimura then calls out to Ichika, asking why he is eavesdropping on them. Orimura tells Ichika that he needs to train harder if he wants to stand a chance against Laura. While walking away, Ichika reveals that his sister is the IS Worldwide Champion who saved him when he was kidnapped. As a result of missing her match, he is only able to win 1 championship. Ichika eventually arrives home to Charles in the shower, and he goes in. After walking into the shower to give Charles soap, he sees her bare body, revealing she is a female. Later that night, the two decide to talk about the situation over tea. Charles gets nervous after touching Ichika's hand, causes him to spill the tea all over him, cleans it off and gets to business, asking Charles why she is pretending to be a man. Charles explains that she once lived on a farm, When her mother died, she was moved to her father's business. Father forced her to do multiple different tests to ensure her compatibility for an IS. Charles reveals that her father forced her to be a male so that she would gather more attention. Charles also reveals that by pretending to be a man, she was able to get close to Ichika and steal his data. She apologizes for lying about everything up until now, causing Ichika to ask her if she is okay with this lifestyle. Chika reveals that he was cast away by his parents and Charles doesn't have to do what her father says. Chika tells Charles he will continue to act like he is oblivious so that Charles's identity is safe. He then pulls out a notebook and reads a school rule, ensuring Charles can stay within the school. Charles thanks Ichika one last time, causing Ichika's eyes to look at her chest. Interrupting their moment is Cecilia, telling Ichika he should come join her for dinner. Ichika agrees to go with her, but they are spotted by Huki in the hallway. He tells them there should be no issue with her joining them, so she grabs onto Ichika's arm as well. Later that night, after getting back, Ichika presents a plate of food to Charles. She struggles to use the chopsticks, but with Ichika's guidance, she is able to learn, and the two enjoy the dinner.